Welcome everybody to the D Will Show. This is my first live podcast that I'm doing. So I want to thank everybody that's here right here with me, and I want to thank everybody that's watching online. But today, um, I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous, my bad. But today, I'm going to be talking to Kai Pryor. I just want to thank you for being a part of this and being my guest. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. To jump right into it, you're a basketball player from West Aurora.
Yeah.
Just kind of take us through what kind of got you into playing basketball and, continue in that journey.
I don't want to say I was forced into it, but I was. At first, I was actually a softball player, and
Okay.
I had zero interest in basketball. And then the coach from the feeder team asked my dad if I could come play. And I had never played basketball before, didn't care about it, and my dad said yeah.
Oh, he said yeah for you?
He said yeah for me. And that's how it started. I started in third grade, and then once we realized okay, I could actually be good at it, my mom and my dad decided to put me on another team, and I started actually entering the AAU realm, and that's where it took off.
Okay, how was the transition from you from not playing basketball at all to from playing softball to playing basketball? How was that transition? How long did it take? What were some of the pros and cons of the transition for you?
So it didn't take long for me to adjust. I would say the only thing I hated about it was I don't like getting bad at stuff, and I was terrible. So I would ask my mom when does softball start, because I just could not I couldn't do it. I was not good at it. But I would say one of the pros is I didn't like being outside for real. I'm not an outside kid.
Yeah.
And softball took for me to be outside in the heat. So once I realized okay, I could be inside and I could actually just train to get better, I just stuck with it and kind of okay, we're gonna do this, and I just never looked back for softball at all.
Okay. If I was to ask you to give me 5 words to describe your game, what would you say?
5. I'm humble. Leader. I don't know. 5 is hard.
Just give me 3. Give me one more.
Okay. Passion.
Passion. Okay. For you, putting the time in to really get better, to really lock in on basketball, what do you say is the strongest part of your game?
My shot.
Shot.
For sure. Yeah.
How was the how was the time? How was your the time that you put in, your craft, working on your craft? How did you lock in on that?
That took a while. Honestly, I feel for most female groups, it takes us a while to realize that we want to take it seriously and we want to be good at it. So for a while, in my mom and dad's eyes, they wanted it more than I did.
Yeah.
And I'll admit it now, but before, we would argue about me going to the gym and stuff. It was fun, but it wasn't this all, I wanted to eat, sleep, and breathe it.
Yeah.
Until I got older, probably my sophomore year in high school, before I started hitting injuries and stuff, is when I decided okay, I could do this, I want to be good at it. So it took some arguments. It took a lot of arguments from my mom, definitely, because she wanted it, but I just didn't realize. Yeah, I didn't realize what I really wanted and how far it could take me.
Okay. I know you spoke on your injuries. Just take us through the injury that you had and how you kind of bounced back from that.
So I'm pretty injury prone actually. So middle school, we found out that I had patella tendonitis, which I sat for 6 months with that. And the bounce back for that it wasn't terrible actually. I just out of shape. I didn't have to get surgery or anything. It was just physical therapy, so it wasn't that mentally damaging for me. And then my sophomore year, I sprained my ankle, which that was a little bit harder only because I started off so strong. I had 20 points first game of the season, and I went down first game of the season. So mentally, that kind of messed with me because I knew I was gonna have a great season, but I couldn't play. And then actually, when I transferred my junior year, I found out that I had torn labrum. So we had to decide whether I wanted to get the surgery my junior year or wait. And me being me, I try to play through most things. If I can, I'm gonna do it. So I just played through it. I played through it for 2 years, and I just got the surgery in February. And so far, my recovery, I'm not gonna say it's hard, but it's hard because I want to play.
Yeah.
And I think it's harder for me to like be still like involved with where I can go next. Like I try to keep myself like, okay, I got this, I got this, I got this. But it's just a little bit harder because I did have to go under the knife and I did have to get surgery. So recovery is harder because like I'm right-handed and it was on my right arm.
Gotcha.
So like in my mind, sometimes I sit back and I'm like, dang, what if I can't like shoot how I used to, or I can't do this? But I mean, it just takes for me to like, pray about it, talk to my mom about it, talk to my dad.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking on the injury, speaking on you transferring, what is like your what do you lean on when you face adversity? Like, what do you lean on to get you through the surgery so that you don't give up? You transferring, you not knowing how that transition is going to go for you. Like, who is like your solid, or what is your rock that keeps you going?
My parents.
Yeah.
My parents, they push me, they believe in me, and they hear me. Like even when I just feel away and I just need to get it out, instead of like yelling at me or like cutting me off, like they're gonna listen. So most situations I sit down and talk to my parents about it.
Okay. Transferring, had a good career at West. You signed to COD as a commit. Just take me through that whole transition on how that all played out for you.
So because I came in injured, it was a little bit harder for me to adjust because I couldn't start the season like everybody else. I had to sit for about 2 weeks. I missed the Thanksgiving tournament. So because I was a transfer and I had to sit, I kind of had to like prove myself to the coaches and let them know like I can do it and like I wasn't gonna let my injury set me back.
Mm-hmm.
But once I did that, it kind of just took off from there. Like at first, I was going through a lot of adversity. It's kind of been there throughout my entire career, but I felt it more my junior year just because like I wanted it and I knew I wanted it, but I had to prove myself to them, and I never had to really do that before.
Okay. For you, what are some of your goals that you have set for yourself? Signing to a school and your career from then on. What are some of the goals you have for yourself?
So I want to continue to get school paid for. I want to go into sports medicine as my major, and that's not cheap. So I definitely want to make sure I can try to get college paid for. I do want to like take my JUCO experience and make it something great. Just because like I was kind of set back in high school, I want to show out in my JUCO career.
Okay. Speaking about all that, who is like your favorite player that you kind of watch, that you kind of pattern your game after, that you kind of learn from?
I actually pay attention to Kalia Cooper a lot because a lot of people say I play like her. But then again, like I hang around a lot of athletes, so of course like I pick up on what they do and like we kind of do it together. So It just depends. Like famous wise, it would be her, and then my communities and stuff, I still pay attention to them.
Okay. My last question from you. So I'm going to give you certain characteristics. I want you to tell me what player you would take this characteristic from.
Okay.
So if I was to ask you who IQ would you take, who would you tell me? Kyrie. Speed.
I don't know. I'm pretty fast myself. You got any basketball player?
Whoever you want to take it from.
I'm gonna go with Usain Bolt.
Okay. Athleticism.
Andrew Reese.
Clutch.
Myself. Caitlin Clark pretty clutch.
Okay. Size.
Andrew Reese again.
Okay. Ball handling. Kyrie. And the last one is mentality. Kobe. Okay. That's all the questions I have for you. I just want to say I thank you again for, taking time out to be on my platform. I wish the best to you, in your career down the line.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
For sure. That's D Will Show, first interview. Stay tuned. Many more. Welcome back to the D Will Show Live podcast. This is my second interview. I have Marshawn Cockcroft. Marshawn, appreciate you joining me, bro. How you feeling? Good. Kind of want to jump right into it. I know you come from a basketball family. Just take us to how you really dived into becoming a hooper.
Well, I started like very young, second grade. I went and played basketball at Roy Turner's, and I was really good at that age, so I ended up playing up with the fourth graders. So I was playing 2 grades up.
Okay.
So then after that, I moved on to Montgomery Wildcats, and I really just played. I started playing like good teams, and I would just hop on different teams until I got to Illinois Tech. And my dad and my brother, they coached me for a long time, and from there we just started getting better and better.
Okay. So basketball was like first nature to you. You really didn't have to like, it was genes pretty much. You really didn't have to like fall in love with it. It kind of like fell on you, when you kind of grew up type of thing. Okay. For you, what do you feel like is the best, like your strongest suit of your game?
I feel like getting past defenders, like my handle, because I know I'm a point guard, so I know I gotta be able to run the offense. So if I can't get past the defender, then our offense gonna be stuck. So I know that I gotta be able to handle the ball.
Okay. Like I said, coming from a basketball family, what was it like for you coming up, really grinding and putting in your work? Like what went into that, when you really had to lock in on your practicing and when you really, your craft pretty much?
I got my work ethic, I would say, from my brother, because he pushed me every day. And then eventually, when he stopped working me out, I took his work ethic and I just started putting in my own work every day. And my dad pushing me as well, making sure I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah. What goes into your day-to-day workout? Like how do you keep yourself, in shape, make sure your handle and everything is still, top tier?
So I got, in my head, I keep a certain, count. If I'm doing a certain workout, I have a limit that day. And then the next day, I see if I can beat that limit.
Okay.
Whatever workout I'm doing, so
Okay.
that's every day.
Okay, so is it like one day you doing ball handling, one day you doing shooting, one day you doing like weightlifting? Like what goes into your craft?
Some days I'm doing like a ball handling workout, just straight ball handling and just shooting. And then another one I do a lot of lifting. So it's either one day I lift a lot or the next day I'm just ball handling and just straight shooting.
Okay. Was it tough? Like how was growing up? Was it like a competitive household? You know what I mean? All being hoopers and stuff like that, or was it chill?
No, it was tough. I mean, after every game, I would hear something from either my brother or my dad or my mom. So it was tough every day. After every game, I would just hear something I didn't do right, something I should have done.
Yeah.
So it was always tough every day after every game. So.
Yeah. Was it tough for you? Did you feel like that's like added on pressure? You know what I mean? I know your brother is, a great hooper. Did you feel like it was tough? I don't want to say following in his shadow, but pretty much, trying to, you want to be able to maintain, being good in the family type of speak. Because you don't want to be at the family gathering and they be like, oh, he suck, he the weak man. You know what I mean? Like, was it tough to like kind of follow those footsteps?
At first, I did feel like that, but after a while, I know that, I realized that they're only pushing me because, they know what I could, how good I could be. So I stopped feeling that pressure, and my brother used to talk to me every day and tell me that he was only on me for that because he knows how good I could be.
Okay.
So then that pressure got off of me.
Okay. For you, we all have some type of adversity or some type of mountain that we have to overcome in our life. Do you mind sharing, rather it being like an injury, you having to transfer or anything like that? Like, can you just take us through like a certain situation you had to overcome, so to speak?
I would say selfishness, in the game. Before I knew being the point guard, I used to pass, but I know I gotta be able to take over the game. So I had to get over them, and I know I had to get the ball in my hands when the time come down in crunch time. So that's what I had to overcome.
Yeah. What went into you having to feel like that? Like, was it like a certain point of a game where you kind of just like, dang, I should have did this or I should have did that, or like, what was that moment that led to you to make you feel like that?
after a game, and my dad, he was talking to me. He would bring an example up with Marcus, like my older brother, telling me that when the game got close, he would have the ball in his hands, and that's what I should be doing. I should always have the ball in my hands whenever the time is getting close.
Okay, sure. I know you know, one of not many. You were a 1,000-point scorer in 2 years of high school at Aurora Christian. Just take us through that whole story you had at Aurora Christian, being a 1,000-point scorer. You guys had a legendary playoff run. I think you guys finished third in state last year, fourth. Just take us through that whole run that you guys had and just your whole high school career thus far.
It started in the summertime, like during this time in summer league. We played in tough tournaments. We played against all Chicago teams, like 4A schools. And even though they were beating us, but like I think that at that point, like that got us, like when we went to play our 1A schools, like we were beating them because we already played a little
Tougher
competition.
School.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
So that season, we were beating a lot of people. We still played good competition. We still played like 3A schools, but every game we started from like here, and we just kept every after game, we just kept going higher. And then once playoffs came, they all played their role, and they knew that the only way we were going to get to stay is by playing their role and not doing too much than what they were supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So when that time came, we started, winning games, and then I started, scoring more because I knew if we were going to get to stay, I was scoring. So during that scoring run, that got me my 1,000 points in the sectional final, which I didn't know until the banquet. After
they
the
told
season.
you? Okay. For you, what are some of the goals that you have set for yourself, moving forward? You still have 2 years left in high school, right? Just take us through, the goals you have set for yourself going into your junior and senior year.
I hope by, my junior year, I end up with offers. Also, after my senior year, I don't know if the points that we set are enough, but I wish I could get like 1,000 points. That's another goal at a different school.
Okay.
And just saying that when I graduate, I did everything I could on the court.
Yeah.
And I did my hard work. I put on the work.
Yeah. Yeah. You said scoring 1,000 points at another school. Did you mean set another rate you transferred? Okay. What led it to you making that decision on transferring?
I thought about it. So after we were thinking about it January before the season even ended. We were thinking about it, and my parents told me to think about it, so I did.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about the players, my teammates that I'm playing with. They were my AAU teammates, so who I was gonna play with.
Yeah.
And
so it was kind of easy to make that choice. Kind of made it easy. Okay. For you, just I know you spoke on your dad and your brother a lot. Just talk about the major impact they had upon your life, making sure that you stay on your schoolwork and your game. Just talk about how much they mean to you and how much they really help you, be the young man that you are now.
They helped me through a lot. My brother, when he used to coach me, he was always on me the toughest. Out of everybody in the group, he was, calling me names, was grabbing me. But he did it out of love to make sure I was supposed to be doing what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So I didn't take it in any other way. But, and my dad, they say he got a little softer, but he was still on me hard and every day, just making sure I work hard.
Yeah.
Making sure my grades are right. Being a student athlete, make sure I'll be a good young man.
Yeah. Okay. For you, when you really dived into hooping, who was your favorite player that you kind of was watching, kind of try to take their game, picking parts from their game? Rather than NBA players, your brother, who were you watching to kind of take things from?
My favorite player was LeBron, but I take game after Kyrie. I like watching him play, so I take my favorite Kyrie.
Okay. Then the last question I got for you, I kind of sure you heard it over there. I'm gonna give you certain characteristics. You just tell me which player you would take it from. Who would you take your IQ from? LeBron. Speed.
Westbrook.
Okay. Athleticism. Okay. Clutch. Can't say LeBron on that one, bro. I'm sorry. Can't say LeBron on that one.
Curry.
Curry. Okay. Size.
Let's say Kobe size.
Okay. Ball handling.
Kyrie.
Kyrie. And then last one, mentality.
Kobe.
Kobe. Okay. Bet. Well, man, bro, I just want to say I thank you, for taking time out to come onto my platform. I'm a fan of your game. Best of luck to you and everything you have coming up. Appreciate you, bro. For sure. All right. That's interview 2 with Marshawn Cockcroft. Stay tuned. We got many more. Welcome back to the D Will Show Live, my third interview. Today I have Jason Phillips here joining me. Jason, appreciate you, Brody. How you feeling?
Thank you. Good for me. Feeling good.
Feeling good. Okay. I just want to jump right into it. Obviously for you, a lot of talk around town. You're the number one baseball player in the state of Illinois. So just kind of take us through what made you want to play baseball.
You know, I started off when I was young. Like, it was kind of just an activity. Like, I was just playing, like, as a kid. And then, like, I just realized, like, I was actually good. Like, I could, like, do something with baseball.
Yeah.
So then, you know, I just kept going with it.
Yeah. So was it something like you just played in the neighborhood and you was like, all right, I'm good at it, I'm gonna do it, or like
Yeah,
what
like-
went into the?
Like, I would just be in the front yard hitting like a tennis ball at bat.
Yeah.
You know, just, like, playing. And
Breaking windows and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah.
But, you know, then I was just pretty good at it, so I just stuck with it. And then it's really just been baseball.
What was that like? What was that age for you? You know, was it like when you were super young when you picked up a bat?
Like, it was probably like around like 5 or 7, like when I was just like playing, you know, and then like I just been playing ever since. And like recently, like probably like 7th, 8th grade, is like when I really just started like locking in. Like I really started taking it serious. Like I realized I could do something.
Yeah. When you really decided that's what you want to do for your life, who was like your favorite player or players that you were watching? You know, that kind of made you fall in love with the game.
You know, like, I'm a Cubs fan, so
Okay.
I've been watching guys like Chris Bryant, you know,
Yeah.
like Addison
Yeah.
Russell, Javier Baez, all them, you know. And I just really looked up to those guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I read up on you. I read that you play, multiple positions. Which one do you like playing the most? Like, and tell people, what positions that you play.
Yeah, I play third, first base, and I pitch. But I think honestly, like pitching might be my favorite because like I don't know, like the control, like you control the whole game, like
Yeah.
you know, like if you do bad, like
You lose the game.
team
It's
bad,
like, yeah.
You know, but it's just like you control the game, and it's like it's kind of like kind of like art. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like,
Yeah. Like you the main factor. Like you
Yeah.
contribute if the game will go bad or good.
Exactly,
Okay. Okay. Growing up for you, what were some of the adjustments and lessons that you had to learn, playing baseball, that you know now that you can maybe tell the kids coming up behind you that want to play baseball?
like I kind of learned like recently, kind of like I noticed that when I was young, but like, I noticed really recently that like I don't know, it's kind of like not a like primarily like black people's sport, you know. So
Yeah.
I kind of noticed that, you know. So but I had a lot of adversity with that like kind of recently,
Yeah.
you know. But I would just say like stick with it, you know, and just like don't let no one tell you like oh like this ain't for you or nothing like that. Like
Yeah.
someone say that should be like that fuel that like
Yeah.
makes you want to do better, you
Yeah.
know.
Now, how did you overcome that? Because most people, they could have went about it differently, where they might have want to quit, because they feel like the odds are 10 times harder. How did you maintain and, stick through it, that you didn't give up? Because it's not a predominantly, black sport.
Yeah, like, like even though it's not predominantly black, like a lot of my teammates are black, so like that kind of helped me out a little bit. And then like recently I've been going to like some like showcase and stuff like that where it's like just like black people, so it's like
Yeah.
it kind of just makes me feel more comfortable about it, and like it makes you feel like oh I'm not like the only one.
Yeah, so you're not, okay. I read here that you have 5 home runs, 50 hits, and a 490 batting average. Seems like you have like a great eye for the ball. What's your mindset when you really step into that batter's box? Like, what are you thinking that, are you, trying to get your mind focused? Like, what are you thinking when you're going into, stepping up to plate?
When I started to play, I try to keep everything like the same, like every at bat, kind of like a ritual almost, kind of.
Yeah.
And then my coach taught me this thing, like you gotta like look at something, and like
Yeah.
take a deep breath, like concentrate. So like I really been like really focusing on that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's like been helping me like a lot. Like it just helps me like lock in, have like that tunnel vision.
Yeah.
It's like it's just me in the picture,
Yeah, but what goes into your craft that you make sure that you stay, level-headed, that you stay on top of your game, rather that be, the way you train, the way you eat, you sleep, stuff like that. Like what goes into your day-to-day, routine, I should say.
Yeah, like I try to just like work like when I'm practicing, and training and stuff. Like I just try to keep it like not too like difficult, Like I try to keep things like simple, but like make sure like I'm learning stuff too. Like trying to get better day by day, and then like really just like trying to be locked in like when I do like practice, like like that's the stuff where it's like I just gotta be dialed in and make sure like, I'm not messing around like during the times.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you might have to work with me on this question right here. So, if you could create a MLB all-time team, you know, who would your team be? I know it's a lot of positions. I'm not really too fond on baseball, so all I know is pitcher, catcher, you know, certain ones like that. So, if you could just give me your all-time team, you know, all-time each position, you know, who would you go with?
Alright, I like catcher. I probably put like Yadier Molina. You know, like
Cardinals, right? Cardinals.
Yeah,
I'm learning. Okay.
Yeah, I like him. You know, like he played with a lot of swag and like
Okay.
he'd be like he's a killer, man. Like I don't
Yeah,
he's just
yeah.
like nasty with it.
Okay.
And then pitcher, I probably pick like Chris Sale. Like you know, like he kind of
White
throws
Sox,
like
right?
me. You know,
Yeah, I'm learning.
But like he kind of throws like me, so I kind of relate with him a little bit. And then
Yeah.
like he's just nasty.
Yeah, okay.
And then first base, it's kind of hard. Probably pick like Frank Thomas.
Okay.
You know, he would just demolish the balls. You know, just hit bombs. So that's why I think I'll pick him at first base. And at second base, you know, even though he played like multiple positions, I'd probably pick like Mookie Betts.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
See, I know these players, so maybe I know a little bit more baseball than I thought. But okay. All right, bet.
And then at shortstop, I probably feel like Fernando Tatis. Like even though he's kind of like he's current, you know.
Yeah.
But like I really like him. I think he changed the like way the game is. You know, he plays with a lot of swag, which like I like that. You know?
Okay.
And then like third base, probably feel like Chris Bryant. Like
Okay.
I really looked up to that, like him,
Yeah.
especially when he was on the Cubs. Like I really looked up to him a lot.
Yeah.
And then left field, probably go with like maybe like Bryce Harper.
Okay.
Yeah, like I like him a lot. Like he plays with like, a lot of swag again, you know, and he has a lot of confidence. Like I like that. Center field, I'll probably go with like Julio Rodriguez.
Okay.
He's another newer guy, but like once again, like he played with that swag.
The swag.
I really like
You
that.
big on
know?
swag? Got you.
Like
Okay.
he changed the game. Like you know, he kind of like brought that swag back. So
Okay.
it was like you know, it's too serious. I
Yeah.
feel like, you know?
Okay.
And then right field, probably go with like Aaron Judge. You know, he's just like he's a huge dude.
He's a killer.
Bombs.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. I know for you, you know, college recruiting is really about to start. You know what I mean? The schools really get to reach out to you and, you know, contact you. What are some things that you're looking for, you know, when schools reach out to you, that you take into consideration before, you know, obviously you still have a lot of time, but what are some of the main factors you look for in a school when they do reach out to you?
like definitely like obviously like a good baseball program, you know, and then like before I would obviously like live somewhere, I want to like go to the campus, like see how I like it, see how like the environment is,
Yeah.
you know, and then like also just like how the coaches are too, because like I wouldn't want to go to a school where like I don't like the coach, like he doesn't like
Yeah.
something that like I would do,
Yeah.
you know, so yeah, I would really focus on that.
Okay. What is your favorite pitch to throw, and what is your favorite pitch to hit?
I think my favorite pitch to throw would probably just be like a fastball, like you know,
You
like,
gotta hit the fastball.
yeah, because I always threw hard like when I was like a kid, so like
Yeah.
I would just throw a lot of fastballs. Like not a lot of kids could hit it, so yeah, I would say fastball.
Okay.
And then hitting, I think it'd be the same thing like a fastball. Like
Yeah.
it's just like most of them be straight, so it's like it's easiest pitch to hit.
Yeah.
I feel like and if you get on time with it, like especially if the pitcher's throwing harder, like the ball just carries.
Yeah. Okay. Do you feel like pitching really set forth like your whole game? You know what I mean? I know you spoke on pitching. You're control of the whole game. So if you're pitching awful, like obviously, you know what I mean, your game's gonna go south. But do you feel like pitching really set the tone, you know, for your style of play and how you go about it?
Yeah, I think it like really does. Like I think pitching like helped with like all of my game, you know, because like then like later when I'm not pitching, I go in the infield, like I like understand the pitcher, you know, like I've been there before, I've been on the mounds, like when they're struggling, like I know like what they would like to hear, you know, like what they would like, what they're feeling, what they're going through right now.
Yeah.
So like, I think that helps me out a lot. Like I know like calm down my teammates when they're on the mound and things aren't going their way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Then the last one I have for you is like, what are some of the goals that you have set for yourself, you know, moving forward?
Yeah, so I think like a lot of my goals is like I want to be like just like the best player at my high school, like obviously, and then like in travel ball, like just want to be like known out there, you know, where it's like
Yeah.
people come to the game and it's like like that's
Like
Jason.
yeah.
Like,
Okay.
Yeah, and then like one of my bigger goals, probably like just like the like state Gatorade Player of the Year. Like that'd be a big goal for me. You know, hopefully could like reach a goal like that.
For sure, for sure. Man, you know, I just want to say I appreciate you, you know, taking time out to come onto my platform. Wishing the best to you. You know what I mean? You already number one player in the state. You already number one player in the country. So, you know, best of luck to you and everything, man. I appreciate you again. That's episode 3. Interview 3 of the D Will Show podcast. Stay tuned. Okay. Welcome back to the D Will Show live podcast. This is interview 4. I have the special guest, the legendary, the GOAT, Mr. Donnell Collins. Mr. Collins, I appreciate you taking time out.
Thank you.
Come on to the
Thank you for having
podcast.
me.
For sure, it's an honor. It's an honor.
Yeah, and also thank you for having my two of my 3 favorite athletes earlier on your show. My son Jason and my son Sean.
My guys, yeah,
You just gotta get Kayla on.
yeah,
My daughters.
yeah, for sure, for sure. To get right into it, Mr. Collins, you know, for those that's not really too familiar with what you do, can you just give us a quick rundown of, you know, exactly what you do?
Yeah, I've been a photojournalist from about 1997. Started with the local paper in Aurora called the Beacon News. And from my internship there, after a year they hired me. And, you know, I stayed there until about 2007.
Okay.
Since then I've been freelancing around the city.
Yeah.
You know, I do a little work for East Aurora as a TA as well. So I'm about to retire this summer, so.
Congrats on that.
I'll be back a full-time photographer after this. I'm not going to quit working. I'm just going to take
Yeah,
jobs
take the chill
if
back.
I like it.
For sure.
So,
Sure.
yeah.
Okay. For you, where and when did your passion of becoming a photographer, where did it come from? Where did it stem from for you?
Yeah, it started briefly in high school. I was East Aurora high schooler. And from there, I went into the military and picked up, bought my first camera. And after traveling around the country in the military, Germany, and for parts of Europe, different parts of Europe, I went to a celebrity tennis match in New Orleans on leave. And I went there to see a different person, different celebrity. But I stumbled on a gentleman by the name of Gordon Parks. And Gordon Parks is a legend in the field. I mean, he's the first African-American photographer to work for Life magazine back when photography was in its heyday. And I just fell in love with his face. You know, I had my camera and I followed him and I photographed him and he didn't seem bothered most of the time.
Yeah.
He started to get a little annoyed with me, but you know, I just, you know, he had this salt and pepper hair and his leathery skin, tan, you know, and so I get back to the base and we're shooting film, black and white at the time, and I'm developing these pictures of Gordon Parks, right? And a guy looks over my shoulder and he's like, dude, where did you get these pictures of Gordon Parks? And my response was, Gordon who? I had no idea
You didn't know who he was,
man,
yeah.
But that's kind of, I researched his life. The guy is an author, a composer, plays the piano, jazz pianist, and a photographer. But what intrigued me was this little box he had could take you around the world. He was working all over the country. He worked for Franklin Delano Roosevelt during his presidency, and I'm like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Being in such an important field, people, hire you to come capture like lifelong memories.
Mhm.
For you, what do you feel is like some of the most important factors in being a great photographer?
Besides just energy, you got to get there, man. You hear about something, you got to get there. You got to have some passion, but you got to understand that photography is really not what I want to be known as. I want to be known as a storyteller.
Absolutely.
So you got to be able to do the technical stuff with the camera, but you got to be able to compose. So I suggest any photographer studies not just photographers, great photographers, but also great artists. You know, I look at Van Gogh and Da Vinci and look at how that light falls on people. You know, and television. I pick pictures out of movies and stuff like that if the light is right. And that's what fires me up. When I see some amazing light, you know, regardless of it was on film or on a canvas.
Yeah.
You know.
For sure. What are some of like the pros and cons of it? You know, we all have things in life that we do, job, profession, that we enjoy, but we also don't enjoy as much.
Well, nothing is better with behind the camera than photojournalism, because you get to touch everything, if I photograph a wedding for a newspaper or a magazine, it's still photojournalism. I'm still telling stories. Somebody who's considered important is getting married and they sent me to shoot it,
Yeah.
But I don't have to stay there for 8 hours.
Yeah.
More like 30 minutes or
Yeah,
whatever,
You get it in and go.
Yeah, get a picture. So, but energy, passion, understand composition, light. Light only comes from one direction, the sun, and so you look at things like that, how would the sun be lightning? How would the sun be hitting? If I'm doing a portrait, I don't really like studio lighting. I like to have a window and maybe a reflector to soften the shadow.
Yeah.
I still, if I'm shooting a portrait outside, I don't want sun, I want shade, so the light is even. So all of that, I suggest you go to, pick a good photography school, because it's a performing art. You don't really need a degree. I have one, but it's not in photography. It's, but you get a mentor like myself, to just work with you, do photo walks, walk around town and look at stuff and learn how to see. My favorite class of all time in college was a class called The Art of Seeing. There's no camera involved, in the class. It was all about vision. Look at something and put it together. The teacher used to put us in a 10 by 10 square out in the park and say, get me some photos. You couldn't move, you just had to look around you. And the best, and I didn't shoot this, but the best pictures from that assignment came from a guy that had a macro lens and was photographing blades of grass and all the things that live beneath the grass, and it was, tiny bugs and stuff like that. It was amazing. So just everything has potential.
For sure.
Whether you're shooting a basketball game or a portrait or, a tabletop setting. Everything, you gotta have that attitude. Everything has potential. And don't feel like when you go to an assignment that you can't get a good picture because it's there.
Yeah.
But you gotta be patient, and you almost gotta see the picture before it happens, and get in position. If you see something, I photographed this kid at a Cougar game that was wearing an Ernie Banks uniform, Cubs. So, him and his dad, and I seen them coming from 50 yards that way, and I'm like, that's not the picture. The picture is to see number 14 in Banks on the back with his dad. His dad had a beer and a hot dog, right? At a baseball game.
Yeah.
And how American is that, right? And so I waited till they passed me, and I got like a 300, and I shot it from behind, and it's still one of my probably top 10 favorite pictures. But it competes with Kajay, and she's still here. And I photographed her when she was about 5 or 6 years old. It was amazing. It's still one of my favorite portraits.
For sure. It's about the eye.
Did I answer your question?
Absolutely. Working for some of the biggest, news outlet companies, can you just take us through your journey, of working for some of the biggest news headlines that we know about today?
Well, strangely enough, the folks that paid me the most money was for an assignment I had already shot that got featured. The story got featured on Oprah. And the National Enquirer, the last place I want a job is, be a paparazzi, gutter type photography. But they saw the pictures in our newspaper. It was actually in our Elgin paper, and they paid me like $300 a file. One picture, $300, and I'm like, well, maybe I do want to work for that. But and then I was on the cover of the Wall Street Journal. That's the real deal right there. Because Wall Street Journal for 100 years didn't even have pictures. It was all about business.
Yeah.
Now, because newspapers are dying, they're like, man, we got to get some pictures. And then they went from black and white to color. And so you get a lot of jobs from magazines, newspapers, and books or whatever from people around the country that know you're local. And there's something going on local, and so they hire you. But most of those jobs don't pay a lot of money. It's the prestige. So ESPN, the magazine, they called me. It was for Boatwright, Ryan Boatwright. So I featured him, shot and featured him. But civil rights icons. I've photographed a lot of people in that. Those are my favorites. Sports. I was there for the Jordan years, the '90s. So Walter Payton. I talk so long I forget what you asked.
No, you're good. That actually goes into my next question. You being around a lot of sports and news, during your career, what has been some of your favorite, athletes that you may have shot, that you have seen, in person? I know it's a lot.
Yeah.
You said Walter Payton and Michael Jordan,
Yeah, because I started in '87 as Peyton was retiring. Mike Singletary, I photographed his last game against the Steelers. That's my other favorite football team outside of the Bears. And Serena Williams, early in their career, when Chicago UIC used to host a tournament called the Virginia Slims. And they were just babies at the time, but they were there for that. And I actually talked to Serena, and she let me know that nothing was happening without her father, so I didn't want to deal with him. So,
Sure.
I was trying to get an exclusive.
Yeah. Okay.
But, I photographed the first African American to ever play in the Masters, Lee Elder. I photographed the first African American that made it big on the PGA, Charlie Sifford, who's Tiger's godfather, was real close with Earl Woods. Tiger is absolutely the top of that list. He was at Cog Hill and Vermont, and that was the first time that I thought he was going to get mauled and trampled. That this guy's walking up the 18th green, and everybody just broke through the ropes and just followed him as he made his way to the green. That was just amazing. And during that particular weekend, a guy pulls up to me in the parking lot and says, "Hey, young man, how you doing?" And I'm like, Ernie Banks?
Yeah.
It was Ernie Banks, man, and he's giving me all this stuff that I didn't ask for, because we're not really supposed to take advantage of a position that, but it was Ernie Banks, and I still have the little business card in the autograph for me.
Okay. Dope.
Yeah, so those are just Big Hurt. I heard him mention today. I photographed when Bo Jackson was on the White Sox, and it was a playoff game, I think, against the Texas Rangers, and I got an amazing shot of them high-fiving as somebody did something good. So.
Yeah. A lot of countless memories.
Yeah,
A lot of.
for sure.
Okay.
Sure.
I know you spoke on that, but is there like a particular sports moment in particular, rather Super Bowls?
Yeah.
I know you spoke on Mike. Mike had countless.
It's not even college or pro. It's just my kids are number one in my life, man. And my son Jason, who he mentioned, had a big shot against the best team in the state. He was playing at Aurora Christian, so that's high on my list. Kayla downstate, because she played basketball, but she also ran track, and she made it to state for Illinois Math and Science Academy. That's big.
Yeah.
Sean came off the bench as a sophomore for the mighty Tomcats and killed West Aurora.
Yeah.
So that.
Uh-oh.
Watch
out now.
And so that was the first time. Sean was a 9-year-old sitting in the bleachers. I think he's in this iconic photo shot by a photographer named Rob Fetch. Watching the game as Darius Lathan sank a buzzer beater to beat West. And they had not beat West before for 9 years. And Sean was the key.
Yeah.
So that was huge.
For sure.
And I mentioned Tiger, so
Yeah.
and all those guys that.
It's kind of hard to pick. It's so many. It's kind of hard to pick
Yeah.
from. Okay. If you can give advice to any upcoming photographers or anybody in that field
Yeah.
that you may have learned along your way, what would be the piece of advice that you would give them that can help them, further their career?
Yeah, just pick what you love in photography. I like specializing. I always wanted to be a great sports photographer, but that wasn't really my thing. My thing was storytelling. My thing was making people comfortable in front of the camera, and whether it be Jesse Jackson or, somebody that's picking up garbage, I just respect and love, because I started off my career wanting to win awards in climb, and then I ended up wanting to, caring about people and not wanting to invade their privacy. So I think you gotta have some respect, you gotta care about people. First of all, and you got to study people. You walk into assignments, you don't even always take cameras. You walk into the house and leave your cameras in the car and tell them, I'm just trying to check out the situation and get to know you.
Yeah.
That makes them comfortable. And then, because all they're saying is, they think you're going to be there 5 minutes. I'm going to be here for like 5 hours, you know, or not so maybe that long, but an hour. I'm going to take my time and I'm going to, you know, squeeze all the life out of this situation.
Getting the most important shots.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Last question I have for you is, do you feel that photography is still at its peak? You know, now that we have social media,
No.
you know, we have social media is big now. It's taking over the world. Do you feel that photography still has its most important landscape, or is it kind of taking a dim, you know, due to
Well,
social media?
There's, to me, and I hope I don't hurt anyone's feelings, there's a dumbing down of the world, you know, and there's certainly a dumbing down of photography because most papers or newspapers only hire freelancers. They don't have staffs. I worked on staffs where there was a group of us. There's 20 guys. We go to a band game, we have 8 photographers. We go cover the Bulls, we have 5 photographers.
Yeah.
You know, so now, you know, you've got people that work for newspapers that are using iPhones, you know, and I mean, that's fine if you're gonna make it that big, but if you're gonna blow it up, you know, we want big pictures on the cover of the newspaper. We don't want wallet size,
Yeah.
you know. So social media, if you look on social media and look at what people think is a good picture, I'm assuming that if you put a good picture on Facebook, you think it's good. And I can't even tell who you are.
Yeah.
You know, so the quality of photography has dropped tremendously, but there are still people out there, magazines, you know, even like Vogue, you know, one of my favorite magazines to just study pictures is mostly ads. And the thing that drives journalism is ads, unfortunately. Editorial, which we are, don't make any money for the paper. So you need advertising to make money so you can work, but it should not cross into affecting how you approach news about the truth, you know. So it's really tough now because everybody's a photographer, right? I mean, so you watch all the businesses that close, you don't see any more 1-hour photo places or even portrait studios because people are taking their own pictures.
With their phone.
Which is, you don't, I'm not upset about it. You just go with the flow, and so if I can't do it, I teach, you know, so
Yeah.
I'm at the schools, at the colleges, I teach photography, I had my own studio for about 20 years, so, you know, you just keep moving, you know,
sure.
because newspapers are dinosaurs, and look where they are at.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
so.
Yeah, now everything you can look on your phone. They're updating the cameras every 6 months and stuff like that, so it's really killing
And
it.
newspapers should have, you know, really, I mean, if in hindsight, should have got ahead of the game and became AOL, you know, instead of, you know, like, yeah, I ain't worried about that. They did have me start to learn to shoot video, so when we went to the website, we'd shoot a game still, and then they'd want a few minutes of video, so they were in it for that, but it was late.
For
You
sure.
know, it was late.
For sure.
So,
Definitely.
yeah.
Well, Mr. Collins, I want to say I thank you. I appreciate you for taking time out. You know, I know I've talked to you before when I interviewed your sons, Jason and Sean. So,
Right. Touched my heart, man.
for sure,
so,
for sure. Even the text message you guys sent me, you know, you was like, I watched the interview. You know, keep doing what you're doing. You know, we love the work. So I just want to say I thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
you always.
Appreciate it,
For
man.
sure, for
Thank
sure,
you. Thank
for
you
sure.
having me.
All right, that's Mr. Collins of the D. Will Show. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Why do I keep looking this way? Welcome back to D Will Show Live, interview number 5, I believe. I have my coach that I played for. Has been like a big mentor to me all the time. You know, calls me and checks on me all the time. So I just want to introduce my coach, Coach Tyrone Savage. Coach, how you doing, Coach?
Good. Thank you
Just wanna
for
say-
having me. Thank you for inviting me. And it's my pleasure to be here.
For sure. To take it back, Coach, growing up for you, what was it like growing up for you? Just, you know, in Aurora and really getting involved in sports.
Well, when I first moved up here, everybody come from Mississippi, so I was born in Vicksburg, Mississippi, came up in '76. So a lot of people was migrating up north. So when we landed in Aurora, most of our family stayed on the east side of Aurora. So the east side was a very vibrant part of what was going on in Aurora. And if you were a part of the east side, the basketball started at Ohio Street Park, Farnsworth, on the weekends, during the weekday, Ohio Street Park. So as a young person, 5 or 6 years old, I saw a lot of good basketball. And watching and waiting my turn, because we were going to have one court at Ohio Street Park. And then I grew up playing on the monkey bars. That's how I learned how to play basketball. And shooting on that helped me get myself prepared to play on the big court. But Aurora was very vibrant back in the late '70s, early '80s. Basketball was rich, of course, on the east side and in the west side, because everybody that did play basketball, you could see them at Ohio Street Park or Farnsworth Park at some point.
Yeah. Was basketball always in the picture for you, or was it just, you know, always around you that you kind of fell in love with it, you know, and decided you wanted to be a ball player?
Oh yes. Every day we got out of school, I went to Brady, then went to Oak Park. So after we get out of school, we go right down to Ohio Street Park. And as soon as everybody got out of school, everybody migrated right there. So,
Yeah.
So you couldn't help but to understand that everybody played ball. And you idolized some of those individuals because everybody's quick, fast, and it was up and down. So,
Yeah.
so a lot of good examples back when I was coming.
For sure. Take us through, you know, just those moments, you know, growing up, like you said, when you first moved up here, playing basketball, everybody played up there. What was the vibes like? You know, was it super competitive and, you know, stuff like that? Just take us through those moments.
Just like Mr. Collins said, I mean, east side of Aurora, you had Ernie Kavicko, which I didn't get a chance to meet him until I went to his camp in the early '80s. But those individuals that played, especially on the east side and west side, even guys from the west side used to come over there and play. You know, so it was just a point. If you want to prove yourself, you had to go. Those guys had to come through Ohio Street Park Farnsworth.
Yeah.
And until the park kind of went away, that was the only way that you was hooping. Aurora used to be the spot.
Yeah. Sure.
With me, I had to wait my turn. And as I waited my turn, you saw a lot of individuals that had success, and you just idolized them because they were, you know, something that you see when you see people do hard work, you always gravitate to it.
Yeah.
So as long as they doing positive things and hard work, that always helps you want to be like them.
For sure.
Especially we didn't have social media back in the day. We just had individuals coming in and showing. And then if you're paying the right attention, you can really get something from it.
For sure.
I definitely did.
For sure. Coach, take us through, you know, playing for the legendary, you know, East Aurora, just putting on that Tomcat uniform. You know, you have countless, you know, great players come out of that high school. Just take us through, you know, that whole experience of just putting on the Tomcat uniform.
Well, definitely it was a lot of hard work because a lot of people come through there. At that point, it was Kavicko before had the town on lock. And here it is, when you want to listen to the game, you had to listen do it on the radio because the game was sold out. So if you didn't get a ticket, you listening to it on the radio. So 4,000 seats, whether he was at East Aurora, West Aurora. I just remember those names back, you know, those names. Kenny Battle was playing back in the day, the Bacon, Donald, James Malone. And I did go to school on the west side for a short period. So I went to Goodwin.
Okay.
And that's when they went downstate in 1980. I forgot what year they placed, but I remember watching them play. So from watching that, I couldn't wait till March Madness come and go sit in front of the TV and watch all those individuals that went downstate. They had the oval backboards, but I just remember watching West Aurora back in 1980, and then those other teams that came after them, some of the Chicago teams. I mean, you talk about players, the line out, everything was visible for anybody that was hungry about basketball. So I was able to watch it right there on TV, and then dreamed about it, and then we was able to eventually back in '89 and '88, we was able to go downstate.
How was that experience?
Right.
Did you ever think that you would get to that moment? When you first moved up here, you was like, okay, going to the neighborhoods, playing, and then you go downstate. Was that ever a part of your dream? Obviously, it's a dream of yours, but to get to that moment, you know, what was your mindset when you finally got there? It was like, wow.
Oh yeah. I was a late bloomer, considered. I was one of those guys that, if you want to say I was man-made or made myself, because whatever the coach say do, I went and did it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some individuals felt like it was too good to go do it, and if you want to get on the court, you got to do what the coach said. You know, unless not, you'll go out there and embarrass yourself. But it was so many individuals. I played with Thomas Wyatt. I played with legendary, may he rest in peace, Troy Smith, and I was able to watch my older brother Vincent. They played in '85, and they really sparked this because '85, we talk about two legends. I'm gonna call them legends, may they rest in peace. We call them educated, Jackson, Jay Taylor. Those guys, there's so many guys that was to idolize because they played hard. They were respectful. They respected each other. They respected the roles. We talk about the Hudson brothers. Herschel Gates. You know, he was a beast out there. It's just so many names that I was able to watch and just couldn't wait to, like you say, wear that Tomcat uniform.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of good examples in front of me that I couldn't wait to come right behind them and do even better.
For sure. Coach, take us through the legendary, probably the best rivalry, probably the state, maybe the country. You know, the East versus West alumni game. I mean, not the alumni game. Lord forgive me. The East-West crosstown game. You know, take us through the legendary. You know, you said even regular home games, you had to get your tickets probably 2 weeks in advance and stuff like that.
And back when we played, the regional went through West Aurora. Once you went through West Aurora, went to the section, went over to East Aurora. So you had to go through Aurora in order to get out. And then we went to DeKalb. So Aurora hosted a lot of positive things, but we had to go to the regional, and they hosted over at West Aurora. So we had to play each other 3 times. So that was tough. West Aurora, they might be down one year, but then they always find momentum. Somebody will pick it up, and then we battle, of course, in the regional championship every year. But in my particular time, '87, when it kind of started, when Troy Smith was there, Keith Cross, Chief of Police, was there, King Russell. It's so many guys that was playing, and Thomas Wyatt was a freshman at the time.
Okay.
But West Aurora, we beat them over there, and then we came to the sectional, and Troy Smith had the last second shot against Benton. So of course the gym was packed. They was leading the whole game, and then with about 7 seconds left, Troy hit that shot against Benton. Then we went to the super section. So that was in '87. That was our first taste of going to Northern as far as us. And after that, it was like, man, we went up to DeKalb. We wanted to repeat that. So the next year, '88, Darrell Williams was on that team too. So '88, that's when we was able to get back, do the same sequence. We had to beat West over there. Then we came over to East Aurora for the sectional. And then that year, I forgot who we beat. But then we beat, that '88 year, we kind of cruised through it. We beat teams whole-handedly. And then we went up to DeKalb and played Friend.
Okay.
So that was '88. So that was a tough game. We went to a couple overtimes. That was downstate in '88. And then the next one was back again in '89.
Okay.
So then my senior year is like, we ain't from just
Can't sell short.
case, yeah, so we end up having an opportunity to do it back to back. And even though we didn't place, we lost to East St. Louis my senior year on the last second turnover slash throw in.
Yeah.
And that right there sticks with me to this day, and we always talk about it. Some of the former teammates, Coach Claiborne, which is the girls' coach, we talk every day, and then Thomas Wyatt, we always talk about it. But right there is where we left something that could have went either or. It's like we was one shot or play away from possibly winning the state championship.
Yeah.
So as an individual, and now coach, that's where I want to help some of our kids, that's especially in Aurora, East Aurora, get right back down to that point. And we know how to get there. It's just about, it's going to take a while, or it's been taking a while, but at the same time, we headed in the right direction.
Sure.
So that right there, just sitting on that bench and watch them celebrate, and they end up winning it.
Yeah.
They had Conzo Martin that year, and then the year before they had Fonzo Ellis.
Oh, okay.
So,
Oh, yeah.
so you guys watch those guys on TV. They coaching, they doing real well in their lifestyle. But a funny story, we went to University of Illinois basketball campus, the team camp, and their coach coached us, Benny Lewis, and they knew all about us when we ended up meeting for that first game downstate. So they coached us, and they knew all about us. Jawan Howard was a sophomore at CBS. They had a nice group of kids down there, but he's saying back then everybody went to basketball camps. They weren't playing travel ball, or Perry State had just started up. But team camps, if they wanted, for example, Jawan Howard, they're gonna bring the whole team in. So Kenny Battle was still playing when we went down to team camp at the University of Illinois. But you talk about everybody in the state was down there playing. So you had the state champions down there with his team and all the players. So University of Illinois at Champaign was a place to be.
Place to be, for sure.
So we got a chance to play against some of the best. In '87, they started the Morris Shootout, which was a tournament that had the top teams in Illinois. So we was able to go and play against top teams that we were high ranked. So
Yeah.
so we got a chance to see a lot of the good players that was playing back around that time.
For sure. I know you spoke on, obviously you're a coach now. What was the pivot like for you transitioning from playing to becoming a coach? Like, did you always have in your mind that you wanted to coach by the time you were done playing? Or what was that moment for you where, like, did it just fall in your lap and you was like, all right, I'll do it? Or did you always want to give back the wisdom that you may have learned coming up?
Yeah, back in the day, we, in the summertime, Farmville Park used to have, I guess you call it evening sports and daytime sports. So everybody on the east side, majority of them played at Farmville. So we played against Main Street, Westwood, Jefferson. They don't have this no more, but we used to play against each other. That was our travel ball, and that's how we met up in the summertime to play against each other. So I played that going from 7, 8 years old up until my 17, till I was in high school. So we had that growing up. So then when I used to come back from college, I ended up working for the Park District and getting into coaching then when I was coming back on off break. So doing that, giving back that way was how I got started with coaching.
Yeah.
And it's not easy, but it's translating where you taking and getting somebody to understand how to play the game the right way, because a lot of people like to play one-on-one, but you have to give them the basics. You got to break them all the way down and build them up. So when they gave it to me, when I was getting it, I was able to give it back, and it was kind of easy. You have to be patient, So our coach, Scott Martins, he was a disciplinary coach, meaning when one person got in trouble, everybody got in trouble. There wasn't no one person, he's the best player so he can slide. No, everybody on the inline, just like you experienced that with me as a coach. Hey, I'm getting all y'all.
Yeah.
One mess up, come on, sit down. Matter of fact, everybody get on the inline.
Yeah.
So it held us accountable, because that means one person can hold each other. We're supposed to hold each other accountable.
For sure.
Don't sit here and let him go get in trouble. It messes up the whole philosophy of what we're trying to do.
For sure.
Got a lot of selfish stuff going on nowadays where, I told him, well, you ain't got to tell him. You got to lead by example. It's a lot of bad examples, but it is some good examples.
For sure.
So we just got to hold each other accountable. And that's where we came up. And that's why we were really successful, because when Coach said do something, we did it. Stay out the hallways, stay out the hallways.
Yeah.
You know, so discipline now is tough, and you can tell them the truth in a nice way. You don't have to fuss them out. But I thank God for His spirit, because you see these people from running to the wall, but you don't want them to run into the wall. Like that wall, it ain't gonna move.
Yeah.
You know? So you just got to tell them the truth. And I think coaching now is you have to tell them the truth. If you don't put in the work, you don't get nothing out of it. You put 50%, you don't get 50%.
For sure.
And as an educator, I got educators all in my family, which I was a very shy kid, back away from a lot. But as they said, the Holy Spirit takes you on your journey, you got to teach the game of basketball just like you teach in the classroom. If you don't have structure in the classroom, you're not going to have structure in your practices.
For sure.
And our kids need this. You can't be out there wilding out, shooting shots. And watching these kids nowadays, they go harder in the game. They're supposed to go harder in practice. It's a carry.
Yeah.
And a lot of our athletic kids waste their energy just going hard because they're trying so hard. All you got to do is pass, cut,
Yeah.
and go around the other way, and
You're ready.
they'll be open.
Yeah.
They make it so hard because of the highlights that they see all the time.
For sure. For sure.
But you got to put in the work. You got to trust what you're doing. You got to trust the process. And you got to believe in what you're doing. So, but as far as teaching the game, we treat it as a classroom. If you come to class, and class is just like practice. Friday is the test, the game time. If you don't come to practice, or you don't go to class, how you gonna take that test?
Yeah.
You don't know what's on it. You're in there putting your own answers in there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you the answer to the test if you come to practice. Pass here, cut here. When they come off that pick, you open up, you let them through, you talk it through.
Yeah.
They go out there, they say they understand, but they go out there doing it
The
their
opposite.
way.
Yeah.
So those kids or any individuals who listen and receive, they're the ones that get blessed. That's
Yeah.
why they coach them.
For sure.
And I always applaud anybody that's in the NBA. I don't know why people are like, oh, they're comparing these kids. There's 400 some jobs. You gotta be blessed, talented. Somebody gonna give you that money. You're not giving it to anybody.
Yeah.
So they're blessed to be there. So I applaud all those individuals. I'm a little old school because I used to watch it on CBS.
Yeah.
And Dr. J, and Larry Bird, and Milwaukee Bucks, and the Lakers, only one that you could see. You know, every weekend it was the Celtics. You couldn't stand them because they played the game the right way.
Yeah.
You know, and nowadays you got all these avenues, but everybody's. I was listening to some guys talk about coaching. Like you can't be. If you're gonna be in the streets, you got to be in the streets. If you're gonna be a basketball player, you got to be in the gym. That's why Kobe be talking the way he talk. You can't be in the club telling I'm gonna go play the game the next day. It's gonna show up.
Yeah.
So you got to figure out what you're gonna do, what you're gonna do.
For sure.
And once that happens, it's easy.
For sure.
Now you 17 years old, you Drew Holiday. You know, whatever coach need me to do, I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
You know, and other guys out here looking for a ring when nobody don't got a ring because you chose to be a defiant person.
Yeah. For sure.
But basketball it's definitely been a blessing for me because it took me from Aurora and it took me all over the United States.
For sure.
You know, so
For sure.
I've been blessed by it, relationships wise, and I'm just a dreamer, and everything that you dream about, trust with God first, everything
Fall in line.
it'll train to fall in line.
For sure.
So
For
it's
sure.
gonna take time, but hey, it's gonna come in its own time, in the right time. That's all I used to hear. It's about time. Everything's about time. You know, so just been blessed by the game of basketball. And my two little ones, little antsy, they out there, but they teaching me almost like a duo. You know, but they've been here before. They know, they give me a history lesson. Now they surprise me when they bring up names, you know. And he brought one of my oldest in here, he brought up Larry Bird. I'm like, what you know about Larry Bird? So a lot of people don't look at basketball like that.
Yeah.
You know? They just want to play it and be like the most popular person, but then do you know why that person was the way they were?
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
So I think basketball now has to be like a class. You have to study it. You got to understand it. What do my coach want? You know, am I a shooter right now? How do I become a better shooter? Passer. How do I fit in? You know? And the game has changed. It used to be back to your basket. Now it's everybody shooting three.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. For sure.
how do you make your adjustments? That's why you got to become a student. So,
For sure. For sure. For sure. Well, Coach Savage, I just want to say I thank you. You know, I appreciate you. I know we talk often. You know, you'll text me here and there like, hey, you okay? So I just want to say I appreciate you. Like I said, you coached me when I first moved out here. You know, you've been a blessing in my life. So I just want to say I thank you, you know, for taking time out. You know, it's always love. Appreciate you, Coach.
thank you.
That was Coach Savage, Coach Tyrone Savage. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the D Wood Show Live Pod. This is interview number 6. I don't want to say best for last. I don't want to offend nobody, but to my right, man, I got my big brother, mentor to me. Definitely was there through me through my toughest times in life. So it's only right I have my big brother come talk, Mr. Jermaine High Rise Brown. JB, what's up, Brody? How you feeling?
Little bro, I appreciate it, man.
For sure.
Hey, we gonna get it together. Hey,
For
we
sure.
trying to get you on TV, man.
For sure.
Shout out to mom.
Shout out to mom.
Shout out mom for that pasta salad and taking the whole thing.
She ain't even listening,
She
is
didn't even hear.
Look.
She didn't hear.
she? Look, she ain't even listening.
Shout out to you, mom. I'm taking the pan with me.
For sure. For sure. Man, JB, we met through, family.
And shout out to Mimi too.
Mimi sitting over there.
For linking us up.
For sure, you know what I mean? When I hit you up, you was on the podcast a few times, my co-host for a few. But for you, bro, just take us through, just your journey, kind of tell the people who's not really too familiar with your story, kind of tell them a little bit about yourself.
Man, how much time we got? Youngest of 8, from the west side of Chicago. Youngest of 8, got 5 brothers, 2 sisters, 5 brothers that played basketball. Watched them. So my family is weird. So all my brothers got 5, like 1-2 year gap. So me and Randy, which is the second youngest, we're 12 years apart. So pretty much like my brothers and sisters are pretty much like my mom and dad. So for those who don't know, my brother is Randy Brown. He played in the NBA for 12 years, played 5 years with Chicago, won 3 championships with Michael Jordan. For me, just wanted to be like him, watching my brothers play ball. Got a chance to played in high school, went to Bradley, that's how I met Mimi. Things that work out at Bradley, I went to Minnesota State, which won the national championship this year. Shout out to the Mavericks who win the D2. Got some looks for the NBA. Things didn't work out. Played for the Harlem Globetrotters for 7 years. Traveled the world. I can say I've been to 49 states. I haven't been to Wyoming, so it's 49. But I've been to 50 countries. So I can say that round ball literally took me around the world. And I met people to this day that's family that I connect with. So that round ball helped a lot.
For sure. Take us through that upbringing. You said you have a lot of siblings. The house was super competitive. What was it like on a day-to-day for you guys? Was it always? I know you said it's a gap between there.
It's a big gap. It was rough for me because they were so much older than me. But my other brother Alan really helped me because he would play like these men leagues. And so it would take me when I was maybe 10, 11, 12 years old. So I'm playing with grown men.
Yeah.
So that kind of like prepared me, to play ball as I'm playing in high school and college like that and stuff like that. So just being mentally tough and being able to not say holding my own against grown men, but not being afraid.
For sure.
And I think that was the main part. That's why he had me do that.
For sure. So you spoke on the round ball. Was basketball something that was always a part of your goal in life, or was it just something that you kind of fell in love with, knowing that you had older brothers that played?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I would say that basketball and art. Those are my 2 things. I love basketball. Basketball is always going to be in my life. That was something that was special that I always took from watching my brothers and being from Chicago, watching Michael Jordan. So that was the two things, making my brothers and Michael Jordan.
For sure. Take us through, just being there. Arguably, I ain't gonna say arguably, but some people arguably the GOAT.
It is the GOAT.
Well, I said some people think LeBron, some people think Kobe, some people think Kareem and stuff like that.
Right.
But you being there, being around the GOAT and seeing everything that your brother accomplished with the Bulls, just take us through if you have any favorite memories that you may have, just being there, just seeing the games, going to the games maybe.
I mean, for me, like I always tell people, I'm blessed to, growing up on the west side of Chicago, you have all these obstacles. And for me to have a brother to actually make it. So to go back, so when I was 11 years old, I begged my mom to give me a starting coat. She finally got me the starting coat. And being on the west side, you know, you always got to keep your head on the swivel. So I'm young, I don't know no better. Some guys robbed me at gunpoint, 11 years old. So my brother, he did an article when he actually made it to the NBA. He's like, that's when he knew he had to get my mom out. So he took basketball like extra serious, because he was a really good baseball player too.
Okay.
But he took basketball and just like, okay, I gotta get my people out. And so that was the part of it. And so I'm always sound lucky, because who can say they can get to go watch Michael Jordan every home game? If I didn't have a game, I was at the Bulls game. So I get to see Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, I mean, just guys, Penny Hardaway, Grant Hill, young Kevin Garnett, just all these guys that's coming in and just watching them and thinking, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what I want to be like them. I want to see, I see this. So it was, I'm lucky. That's the only thing I can say. Like, I'm really lucky and I'm blessed to have that experience, because a lot of people don't get to experience that.
For sure.
And with my brother being a part of the Breakfast Club, like, he actually going to Michael Jordan's house and actually working out with him and then going to practice. It was it's just those things. It's like, okay, now I gotta do the same thing.
For sure.
So
For sure.
I'm like I always tell people, I'm blessed.
For sure. Do you have a particular moment, as just maybe not just as a little brother, but as a fan that you may have seen in person? Like you said, you got to see countless people like the Kobe's and stuff like that, and Kevin Garnett's. Like, is there a moment to you that sticks out to you the most? That's probably your favorite all time.
So, growing up, you see Michael Jordan, and you always see the buzzer beaters. You see him on TV. So it was the '97 Finals, Game 1 against Utah. Everybody knew the ball was going to MJ. I mean, you can't do nothing about it. He's going to get the ball, he's going to do whatever he wants. So he got it. Everybody knew he was going to take his one dribble, he was going to take his fadeaway. True enough, he did it. Buzzer went off, it hit nothing but net. And there's 20,000 people going crazy. And you really get to experience that live. Like, I always saw it as a kid.
Yeah.
But to witness it live, and for him to make that after the game, it's like, oh yeah, I knew I was gonna make that. It just makes it even better. He's like, oh, that's nothing.
Oh, he knew it. Like,
He already knew. So,
Yeah.
so that was my fondest memory for sure.
For sure. Coming up, like I said, you wanted to play ball too. How did the Harlem Globetrotters come about? You know, how did you get in tune with them?
So, I hate to say this, I didn't want to be a Harlem Globetrotter. I did. Because coming out of school, I had some NBA workouts. I worked out for Minnesota, worked out for the Lakers, worked out for the Bulls, worked out for Philly, and then at the time it was the New Jersey Nets. I really thought I was going to be a Laker. I talked to Phil Jackson, Mitch Kupchak was the GM at the time. He was like, you know, we want you to back up Kobe Bryant. And for somebody to say that, like, and Kobe is like, MJ is Kobe for me. Everybody knows I'm a Kobe fan. So for them to say, yeah, we want you to back up Kobe Bryant, I'm like, I'm game. Like, if I need to be the water boy, I'll be the water boy. So, didn't work out. Thought I was gonna get a look out with the Bulls. Things didn't work out. So my brother was playing at the East Bank Club. He's a guy to this day. I love him to death. Curly Blue Johnson. Played for the Harlem Globetrotters for 20 years. He saw me play. He's like, man, you can really do this. So I'm thinking, I'm 22, 23 years old. I'm feeling myself. I'm like, I'm about to play for the Bulls. I don't want to do this. So things didn't work out. And again, he was like, the offer's still on the table. So I did it. So I was like, I'll do it. I was telling myself I was going to do it for 1 year, and I'm going to try to go back. So I went to at the time it was the D League. It's the G League now. So I did the D League.
Mm-hmm.
But did it for 1 year. Actually, I told myself I was going to do it for 1 year, ended up doing it for 7 years. It was a good experience. Got to travel the world, took care of my family, but yeah.
You enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it.
I can say I enjoyed
Something that was a blessing for you almost could have been a regret for you.
Exactly.
In the long run.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So good thing you stuck with it for sure.
Right.
Being a father now, what are some of the things that you try to instill in your son that you had instilled in you growing up?
Putting in the work. Putting in the work for sure. You know, when he played, people were like, "Oh, is he better than you?" And I say, "Yeah." And people were like, "Well, nah. Why would you say that?" I'm like, "I want my son to be better than me." And I always tell it because I always heard this from MJ as well. And matter of fact, Kobe told this to my son. He's like, "Be better than me." He's like, "I want you to break all my records." He's like, "Be better than me." And I instilled that in him. It's like, whatever I did, I want you, because he was like, "I want to be just like you." I was like, "Nah, I want you to be like me. Be better than me."
Yeah.
Like, dude, if you don't want to play ball no more, if you want to be a rapper, hey, be the best rapper that can be.
Yeah.
If you want to play ball, be better than me, be better than your uncles, be better than your brother. So I always try to say just to be better than me.
For sure. You know, I gotta ask you. I need your top 5 players of all time.
Are we going by positions or we just
However you want to do your 5. You know, right now it's positionless basketball, so you can have
I know, so are we doing positionless or are we doing by positions?
however you want to do it. It's your 5.
I'm gonna do it by positions.
Okay, cool.
Alright, okay.
Give me 2 then. Give me 2 if you can. If that make it easy.
Positions, I'm
Okay.
going Magic,
Okay.
MJ.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna be mad at me, but I'm going with KD. I'm a KD fan. I'm going with KD at the 3. I need a shooter.
Okay.
I'm going with KD. That's my man. KG at the 4, and Elijah Wan at the 5.
Okay. Okay.
Now
you-
positionless, I gotta go with Steph.
Okay. At your point. Well, you're not going position.
Yeah,
Okay. But
true.
he gonna be your your
I'm still
ball.
going with MJ.
Okay.
I'm going with Cole, and I'm going with KD, and I'm going with KG. That's my 5.
So no LeBron love at all.
LeBron be my 6th man.
No, she.
And that, and that's not a knock on LeBron.
Okay.
That's not a knock on LeBron. It's
It's just that you era that you
I
grew
got
up in.
Magic. He do the exact same thing as Magic, just more athletic.
For sure.
No, she Wallace.
Oh
I
no.
love she.
No,
I
see,
love she.
he gotta be your top 5 hood hoopers if he gonna be your 5. He gotta be your hood 5.
That's my hood 5.
For sure.
That's my hood 5.
For sure.
That's
For sure.
a different 5.
For sure. My last one for you, JB. I know you spoke on you do art. You know, what kind of got you into art? And what's been some like the pros and cons of doing art?
So my brother Alan, shout out to my brother Alan. He got me into doing art. He had comic books, and I was always a fan. So he was always drawing like the covers of the comic books. So I was one of them bad little brothers that would just trace his comic books, even though they might be millions of dollars. They might be worth $1 million right now. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, brother. I'm sorry, but I used to trace on them. But then it got to a point where I was like, let me see if I can draw this myself.
Yeah.
So I started like really looking at it and started drawing it.
Yeah.
Like I really, it was self-taught, and then once you got to school, it kind of enhanced. They show you how to, mold everything together.
Okay.
But the pros and cons of it, I think for me, it's just being confident in, my work. I mean, like all the people here, if I had an art show and everybody here and only one person liked it, I'll take that. But as my younger self, I felt like if everybody liked it and only one person didn't like it, I'm like why does one person don't like it?
Yeah.
So it got to a point, I guess because I'm older now, it's just like, if I just reach one person, I'll take that.
Let's take that.
So I think that's the pros and cons, just being confident in what you do. So,
For sure. For sure. But man, JB, I just want to say I appreciate you, bro, always.
Always.
We talk often, man. Like I said, you've been a big brother to me, a mentor. You've connected me with so many people also. So I just want to say I appreciate
We're gonna continue to connect.
For sure,
We're gonna
for sure.
continue to connect.
For sure. So I appreciate you, bro. Best of luck to you and everything you got coming up.
Yes,
For
yes.
sure.
And Mom, come get that page.
For sure. All right, that's Jermaine Brown. That's the end of the D-Wood Show. I just want to say I appreciate everybody that's been supporting me, even if you couldn't be here in person, if you're watching on live. Be sure to subscribe to the D-Wood Show. Also follow on Spotify, Apple, Google. Many more episodes of things coming your way, so be sure to be on the lookout.
You on all of them.
Yeah.